Good evening.
It was always going to be a tough assignment for the British Lionhearts as they travelled away to the Ciudad Deportiva in Havana to take on the Cuban Domadores in Group A of the World Series of Boxing. Cuba in first place with 5 wins out of 5. The Lionhearts in fourth with 8 points. The first bout of the evening at Flyweight between Kelvin de la Nieve and Yosbani Veitia. Veitia had won 10 straight in the WSB and really stamped his class on proceedings from the start. Good combinations of punches throughout, sharp stinging jabs and work to the body as well. De la Nieve making his debut for the Lionhearts, by no means disgraced himself. He hung in there all the way through the fight, but ultimately his Cuban opponent was just too much for him and he took it wide on the scorecards. At lightweight it was Wally Belora up against Lazaro Alvarez. Alvarez, a 2011 World Amateur Champion at bantamweight, a bronze medalist at London 2012. Again, fighting out of the southpaw stance, caused Belora problems with the way he switched angles particularly and varied his punches. Belora was very game, landed some right hands coming forward at times, but couldn't really sustain his forward assaults. And the hand speed of Alvarez at times fairly blistering, just too much for the Frenchman. He was rocked towards the end of proceedings, but made sure that he hung in there to hear the final bell. Belora was given 1 round on one of the judges' scorecards, but it was still a win by UD for the Cuban. At welterweight at 69 kilograms, it was Echo Esserman up against Roniel Iglesias. Iglesias, a much decorated fighter, 2009 World Amateur Champion, gold medalist at London 2012. Esserman, who had come a long way in a short space of time, won his first 2 WSB bouts and did give Iglesias something to think about. He constantly came forward, threw plenty of punches, but Iglesias just had the greater class on the night. It was similarly difficult for John Newell up against Julio Cesar La Cruz. La Cruz, a 2011 world champion. These two had boxed once previously in Romania. Newell had put him down with a right hand on that occasion, but lost on points. He had no such success this time, rocked back on his heels by that left hand in the second round. La Cruz's head movements and reflexes were outstanding throughout. Indulged in a touch of showboating at times in front of an appreciative crowd, and Newell just never really managed to get his punches off and get his boxing going. It was a tough baptism for him. He got a walkover on debut. So this was the first time he was entering the ring for real in the World Series of Boxing, and it was a steep learning curve. So that meant that going into the final bout of the evening, all hopes were pinned on Joe Joyce at super heavyweight up against Lenia Perro. Both had won their first 2 contests, and Joyce started well, cutting down the ring and putting the pressure on Perro in the opening round. The Cuban struggling to deal really with the power of Joyce at times, but he adapted as the fight went on. And after weathering this storm at the end of the first, in the second and third rounds, just moved a little bit more, got his feet out from underneath him, circled clockwise, counterclockwise, made Joyce work that bit harder and did find the target on occasion himself. Joyce, though, supplied a big round in round number 4. Perro felt the weight of the punches and his work rate just began to slow as Joyce leant in on him and used that extra height and strength that the London man possessed. It was hard work for Perro at times. The crowd at the Ciudad Deportiva absolutely loved the super heavyweight fight. They were on their feet. It was the most competitive of the evening. They knew that their man was up against it as well. And Joyce it was who got the win. And so a 4-1 win for the Cuban Domadores.